Now, in the past, a number of top global sporting stars have come out publicly to speak about their struggles with mental health. They include Michael Phelps, Ryan Giggs, Serena Williams, Andrew Flintoff, gymnast Ali Raisman, and NBA stars DeMar DeRozan and Kevin Love. Phelps has been open about his battle with depression and suicidal thoughts, while Serena Williams has been forthright about postpartum depression after giving birth to her daughter in 2017. But in recent months, the spotlight has been turned on the issue, with more big names going public with their struggles. Four-time Grand Slam singles champion Naomi Osaka announced she would be taking an indefinite break from tennis, having missed both the French Open and Wimbledon. Her decision comes as fellow tennis professionals Sloane Stephens and Shelby Rogers revealed hateful online harassment they receive on a regular basis. U.S. gymnast Simone Biles brought the issue to the forefront when she missed a week of the recent Tokyo 2020 Olympics in Japan, citing mental health concerns and particularly struggling with the mental aspects of difficult twisting maneuvers. In July, England cricketer Ben Stokes announced he would be taking an indefinite break from all cricket to prioritize his well-being, and has received the backing of another top cricketer who himself has spoken out about the issue, India's Virat Kohli. England and Aston Villa defender Tyrone Mings says his mental health plummeted during the Euro 2020 tournament as he came to terms with a lack of self-confidence. Here in Africa, South African national hockey goalkeeper Pumela Mbande has opened up about playing at the top level while coming to terms with anxiety, while Olympic 400 meters champion Wade van Niekerk has termed his slow and agonizing return to full health after injury as more mental than physical. Now, these are just a few of the many cases as the topic becomes harder to ignore, especially with many high-level athletes being more isolated due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, for more on this topic of mental health in sports, we're now joined by Professor Leon van Niekerk, the acting dean in the Faculty of Health and Sciences at the University of Fort Hare, East London in South Africa. Professor, thank you very much for joining us. To start us off, recent data shows that 35% of elite athletes are suffering from mental health issues. Why is this the case?
Yeah, thanks for having me, and good evening, everybody. Mental health is one of those issues in sport that has been neglected for quite some time. That's why the numbers are so high. Usually athletes suffer in silence because of their mental health issues. They don't want to tell their teammates, they don't want to tell the coach for fear of not being included in a team or fear of stigmatization. So the numbers escalate. Like 35% is much more than what a country on average in its average population has. So usually for athletes, the numbers are quite elevated. And that is due to a combination of personal issues or a personality approach to their environment and the environment itself. Athletes are constantly in the spotlight, especially if they are professional, and they have to perform in a high performance environment. So they do push themselves, push themselves unnecessarily high because of their expectations and the expectations of the public and the expectations of a coach or even themselves that are quite high. So their standards are extremely high. And in their approach to achieve those goals and those standards, very often they fall short. And then they begin a process of judging themselves and evaluating themselves quite harsh, especially if they lose a few times, especially if they miss their goals with a tiny bit even, they can become quite hard on themselves. So the pressure of the environment of high performance and the constant evaluation of such an athlete sometimes becomes too much. And remember, these are people that push themselves to the limit. Whether they are in sport or whether they are in business or in academia, they want to be the best and they really want to do well in their sport. So
Professor,
anytime they miss something,
bringing in an external aspect to this, Professor, what has been the effect then of the global pandemic on the mental well-being of athletes as well?
It has just aggravated it. With some research now that we did after the second lockdown 4 among our athletes, we found that about 46.5% of them are at risk of developing mental health issues. So the isolation that came with the pandemic had quite a significant impact on them because they constantly think about missing out opportunities for a scout to see them, missing out opportunities to train and get themselves ready and improve their skills, missing out on opportunities to perform and be on the world stage. So that fear of having uh, a loss in their life because they find it difficult to perform or to be part of their sport is aggravating their depression or their anxiety. They become worried that they might miss opportunities. And remember, the career of an athlete is very short, especially if they are professional. By the age of 28, 30, they are retiring from their sport. So every year and every opportunity they miss is a significant opportunity for them to that they miss to achieve their goals. So the isolation, the lockdown has really robbed them from quite a number of experiences, and they experience that as a loss over and above the stress and the pressure to be out there and be in the limelight. It's just aggravating their experience of depression or anxiety.
And finally, Professor, very briefly, what then needs to be done to protect sportspersons against mental health issues?
I'm so glad about people promoting mental health among the athletes as well, so that the stigmatization can be removed. Then we need to find ways to assist coaches and athletes to prevent mental health issues. We have to detect it early and then treat it appropriately. For a long time, sports psychologists and coaches has focused on the mental toughness of the athlete. We have to develop them mentally to perform well and neglect the issue of mental health. Being in constant performance under constant pressure is not healthy. So if they are going to continue with that kind of lifestyle, we have to make sure that we include programs and workshops and awareness for our athletes to take care of themselves mentally before it is too late, before they run into depression, before they run into anxiety disorders or even substance abuse. And the worst of it all, some athletes commit suicide because of this. So
Right.
we really need to be able to prevent and detect and treat them well.
All right, Professor, thank you very much for your insights. Professor Leon van Niekerk, the acting dean in the Faculty of Health and Sciences at the University of Fort Hare, joining us live there from East London, South Africa.